it has to touch your spirit, touch your soul, and whatever it is, it just so happened that when he was preaching it, just the songs, everything just lined up. We're not the only ones doing this thing. If you have a psalm or something that you want to sing, or to elevate the minds of our people, as the scripture has said, to lift our hearts up, like it says in the book of Acts of the Apostle, chapter 13, it says, men and brethren, if you have any words of exhortation, you say on. If you have any songs or anything like that, feel free to come and sing it, express, so that we can actually be, we can be blessed by those songs. So I'm going to play this song, Zion, Don't You Cry No More. Despite everything that we've gone through, everything that, the Most High has put us through because of our sins and disobedience, he's still saying, as a true husband, as we've learned today, don't cry. I'm coming. I put you in this situation. I'm coming to save you. And I'm coming against who enslaved you. So that's the gospel. And it's also important to know that his word always going to come to pass. You are worthy of my praise. Great I am. You are worthy of my praise. Mighty God, great I am. You spoke the words and it came to be. Mighty God, great I am. Came to be. Great I am. So don't you cry no more, Zion. Higher is coming again soon. So don't you cry no more, Zion. Yeshua is coming to save you. Yeah. It's coming to save you. It's coming to save you. I have seen the suffering of my people, the slavery of the ancients, and it makes me sad. I have seen the pride of the Gentiles, the pride of the Western world, and I'm sending my song to save you. Don't you cry no more, Zion. Higher is coming again soon. So don't you cry no more, Zion. Ooh, how's it gonna be? As lightning shines from the east, sets in the west, so shall it be. As lightning shines from the east, sets in the west, so shall it be. So don't you cry no more, Zion. Don't you shed no tears, Zion. Higher is coming again soon. Don't you cry no more, Zion. Higher shall it be. As lightning shines from the east, sets in the west, so shall it be. Yeah. To lay the foundation for today's teaching, Hebrew word of the day. Hopefully you can see the whiteboard. And let me set this one in order as well. This is the Hebrew word of the day. As we know, Hebrew, it's double E, right? Oh, I hope I got it right.
Yep.
Hebrew word.
Try not to say Hebrew. Hebrew.
Huh?
Try not to say Hebrew.
Well, sometimes you don't know what to say, Igbo or Hebrew. Which is the corruption, the word Igbo, right here. E-B-O or E-B-O-W is a corruption of the word Hebrew in English. Sometimes they call it I-B-O,
B-G-O,
I-B-O, or I-G. Well, you also have H-E-E-B-O. This is the name. This is the name that the slaves were called. The slaves were called Hebrews that were brought to the Americas, referring to my people, our people in eastern Nigeria, the slave coast of Africa. You know? So here we go. Very interesting. In world history, or a period of time in world history that emblemizes the sufferings of the 12 tribes of Israel in the earth today. And the word that actually was used to describe that in the Bible, you find that in Hebrew, the word is in Hebrew 6869. That's H 6869. You can find it in your Strong's Concordance. And it's very interesting. And very interesting because the people of eastern Nigeria, where the Bantu speakers, where they fled into, the word Bantu is Beta, which is the house of Israel in the Hebrew, and the one that speaks the ancient Hebrew language, not Yiddish. Even though we can actually denote this with modern Hebrew character, today I'm also going to use the modern Hebrew character as well as the ancient Hebrew characters to actually denote this stuff so you can see the difference. No matter what character you use, the language and the sound stays the same. This is without vowel point. The fake speakers trying to use vowels, which is not permitted. It's a new thing that the Europeans have done to trick us, actually, and steal the language. But today, everything that we write, we're going to denote it with just the natural characters outside of the vowels. So here you go. Let's go to the book of Genesis, Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 7. I want you to read that, please.
And it reads, Jeremiah 30, verse 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is
Alas, for that day is great, so that what?
So that no day is like it.
So that none is like it, right? Come on.
It is even the time of...
Down like that. This is the sod. It gives you the t sound, sodi or sod in Hebrew. And then you have the roishi. This gives you the R, if you will, in Hebrew. And then the cheta. This is the word that was used to describe Jacob's trouble in the Hebrew, or
trouble, rather, to be more accurate. This is the word that we're going to try to break down right now. Again, you find it in Hebrew 6869. So I'm going to do the transliteration from this system of writing to that system of writing. And I'm also going to represent that with the Paleo ancient Hebrew characters. It gives you the tsa, 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 which is sode, sode. We call it sode in Hebrew. Some people call it sadi, but it's tz. Some people say it's tz. It's not tz. It makes the tz sound. But simply today, you can actually represent it simply with just the T. Right? So here, but even though there's another T, which is a ta, the last letter, or to, where you get the word eto, the last letter in Hebrew, this is tza. So here we go, sode, and then the roishi is the R right here. See there? Which is, so this comes from that. This is this character, and here we go. You see how it comes alive? And this is the sheta, where het, at the end of the Hebrew character. So now here are the natural sounds in this word. The natural sounds, you can actually again pronounce it without the vowel sounds. What you have here is tara. You see that? Ancient character representation. You see that? These are the characters that make up this word with ancient characters. You see that? This is tara, tara, tara. That's how you wrote in the ancient times. Amazing. And this is the modern character as well. The same sound, no difference. But I'm going to go and represent the vowel sounds so you can actually see why you can transliterate from this system of writing to English characters. So here we go. Same thing. This is tara. So let's do that. What do you put in here? You have the ta, the ah. Before you can pronounce the ta and the ra, there's an ah that exists in the between, which is ah. So ta, ta, ah, ah. The ah sound, which is actually the aleph, does exist. So the vowel there is what? Ah. You see there? And it's a natural vowel sound that have to exist there for you to pronounce the tara. There's gonna be an ah in the middle. Something goes with the ra, ra, ra. For you to go from ra and the ah, there's a what? There's an ah in the middle. So that gives the word what? Tara. Amazing. And that's what you find in your Strong's Concordance. In transliteration though, the pronunciation, the way they want you to pronounce it, they put it this way. T, S, A, W, and then the R, A, W, because that's the ra, essentially this gives you the ra right there in pronunciation, which is accurate. And sometimes we do put the H at the end. So that's what it is. Tara. Not tarahoho. So let's read the definition. You have the Strong's Concordance. Please read the definition for us, please.
The Strong Concordance for tara is a feminine of H6862.
Okay, stop right there. So this is a feminine gender of a root Hebrew word. Of what? H what?
H662.
So the word is H
68
6
8
6 8
62.
6 2. That's the word where it actually comes from. This is a feminine word that comes from this word. But let's go to that word and see what that word is. 6862, right?
Yep.
The word, the different, what you're going to find there is the tara. So you still have the saw there. It's written this way. And then the reish. So this one is simply tara. Tara. And then when you put the head at the end of it, it becomes correct. So that's where it comes from. Tara, tara. A short root of it. So let's read the definition of tara, the root word.
It's tightness.
It means what?
Tightness.
Do you understand what it says? Tightness. Now this is profound because it lets you know that we are the original people. Why? Because the word tight comes from tara, which is the root. So even following, we've proven it over and over again. The original language is a language of the Negroes spoken in eastern Nigeria, in the slave coast of Africa, where the Israelites fled to, because the Israel bloodline that the whole earth was created from. So if you need to trace world history, then you have to go back to your language, and we can prove everything from our language and our culture. Especially when you put the Bible back in our hands. That's why they don't want us to have the Bible. They don't want us to read.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because can you imagine someone that can now, we're so dangerous today because now we go to higher institutions of learning. We learn their language and master their same skills.
Right.
And then we also, if you come from the slave coast, can still speak the language, and you live with the ancients, and you can be able to bridge the ancient and the modern, you are dangerous.
Dangerous weapon.
That's what they fear. That's why they had to re-educate the slaves.
Yeah.
That's why they had to kill the North American Indians, the indigenous Americans here. Because they want you to forget who you are. Which is part of what? Jacob's trouble. Because this word means tightness. When things are tight, we even speak it. We use it metaphorically today, but it's true.
That is true.
Say, man, things are tight with me, man. My wallet is tight, means you don't have money. When things are tight, means things are difficult.
Yeah.
Man, yeah.
And that's tightness or narrow. You don't have freedom. Things are very narrow and rigid. And that's what, so linguistically, the root word there is what? This is what? Right there. Which same way you get the word from word tight. Anything that not tight, the word tight is to be. In fact, if you want to close something in Hebrew, say tachia, which means to seal short or to tighten. In Hebrew. So from Hebrew, all languages was generated.
And if you want to explain someone that is stingy, I can't.
Yes, yeah, exactly. If you want to describe someone that is actually that is stingy, that does not give money,
Yeah.
it's nakia not nakia atachi. No, they can't, means he's tight-fisted. So, so even in the Hebrew, you can find the root English word for tight in the Hebrew.
Wow.
Letting you, and the only people that can explain this are the slaves in the slave coast of Africa, among the Bantu speakers, particularly the Igbos, and then where all the slaves that were brought to Americas came from. Our people in the indigenous and slave coast of Africa. It's amazing. So there you have it, Tara. So let's read the definition again.
So feminine of Hebrew concordance H6862.
Go ahead.
Which means tightness.
Tightness.
That is figuratively trouble.
Trouble. It means tightness. You're going to be tightened on every angle. Figuratively, trouble. Go ahead.
Transitively, a female rival.
A rival situation. Go ahead.
Adversary, adversity.
Now, the word also is used to express a female rival or rivalry or a warrior. Continue.
Adversary,
Adversary.
adversity,
Adversity.
affliction,
Affliction.
anguish. It
Anguish.
just gets worse. Distress,
Distress.
tribulation,
Tribute.
tribulation,
Lation. Tribute what?
lation,
Lation. And what else?
trouble,
Trouble.
trouble.
It's a time of Jacob's trouble, time of Jacob's tribulation. And we're going to go into this teaching to understand the period of time of our tribulation in world history. So there you have it. This word means trouble or tribulation. A time of our tribulation where we're going to be suffering. A time period where this time that we're passing through. So there you have it. The Hebrew word of the day is what?
Tara.
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 Jacob's trouble, a time of our suffering, pain, and so we're going into this teaching what you call the period of Jacob's trouble, the period of pain and sorrow and suffering. You know? So let's do it. Come closer.
Okay.
So let's do it. Let's go first to the book of Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 1. Jeremiah is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 1. We can read it now.
Okay. Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 1.
To bring back, to restore, to reverse. A time when I'm going to begin to reversalization of my people. That's what he's speaking about there. So we're looking at a time in world history when we, at some point, our condition will change. Because we went to captivity. Why did we go to captivity? Because of disobedience. We know that the Most High talks about us going to captivity everywhere. That's part of the curse in the Bible. Let's look at that. Go to Deuteronomy real quick, chapter 28, to establish the law first. That at some point in history, the real Israelites are going to be cursed to go to slavery and captivity and be colonized and lose their identity. We know that, but for those of you that don't know it, we need to emphasize that as always. It can never be used, but you cannot get to the good news
Without getting to the bad news.
without getting to the bad news.
That's common sense.
Let's read it, verse 15 of chapter 28, Deuteronomy.
Alright, verse 15. Deuteronomy 28, verse 15. If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of Ahijam, Ahijam, to observe to do all his commandments.
All his what?
Commandments.
If we don't keep the commandments, something will happen to us. What is it?
And statutes.
And all his statutes.
Which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall.
All this what?
These curses.
These curses shall what?
Come upon
the Israelites. Go ahead.
And overtake thee.
So if he has to overtake you, that means he's actually chasing after you. So wherever we go in the whole world, he's going to follow us. If we don't keep the commandments, it's based on condition of obedience.
That's right.
So if you find yourself in Australia, it will follow you. You find yourself in America, it will follow you. You find yourself in the slave coast of Africa, it will follow you. Everywhere in the world, in the island nations, in the Jamaica, it will follow us because we have an agreement on blood. The Hebrews, we don't play with blood covenant just like the American Indians. They are Hebrews. Our people here in America.
Yep.
When you make an agreement, you got to keep your word. Because there are consequences that follow suit. Especially with the blood agreement, blood covenant.
Life is on the line.
Absolutely. Here we go.
Oh,
Continue.
Cursed shalt thou be in the city.
In the city of New York. Go ahead.
And cursed shalt thou be in the field.
In the fields in the slave coast of Africa and indigenous places where we're scattered into. Go ahead.
Cursed shall thy basket and thy store.
Jump down to verse 64.
Down to 64.
Please. Real quick.
64. Verse 64. And Elohim shall scatter thee amongst all people, from the one end of the earth even unto the other.
The Israelites are not going to be in their land at some point in the future. So you're not going to be in Jerusalem no more. It's a prophecy in the agreement, in the commandment, in the law. Continue.
And there thou shalt serve other gods.
We're going to be dealing with false religion as well while we're scattered. We're not even going to know the true worship. And you're going to see that I'm going to bring a teaching soon that called Conquest Through Religion. Conquest through religion.
I already see that one.
Conquered with religion. One of the way they conquered us. And that's why we actually mentally and spiritually supporting a system that has destroyed us.
Not even knowing it.
Not even knowing
Not
it.
even knowing it.
And we're fighting against the very people that are working to deliver us because we've been conquered and socialized into a new system. Amazing. Continue.
Which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone.
Go ahead.
And among these nations shalt thou find no ease, neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest.
You're going to be walking 9 to 5, even walking to build an empire, all in the law. Come on.
And Elohim shall give thee there a trembling heart,
A trembling of heart,
and felling of thy eyes,
the felling of the eyes,
of sorrow mind,
the sorrow of mind,
and thy life shall hang in doubt.
in
before
doubt
thee.
before thee. Does that sound familiar now?
Every day.
This is the what's going to happen to the real Jews, our people. Come on.
And thou shalt fear,
In Africa and mines in America. We're going to read those history today. Come on.
and shall have none assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, What Elohim it even, and at even thou shalt say, What Elohim, and were morning, for the fear of thine heart wherewith thou shalt fear,
Go ahead.
and for the sight of thine eyes which thou shalt see.
Go ahead.
And Elohim shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
It's going to bring us into what?
Egypt again with ships.
The word Egypt, as we know, represents slavery. You find that in Exodus, because we just come out of Egyptian slavery and captivity. Exodus tells you that. Exodus chapter 20, verse 1. I'm going to read that one myself. And Elohim spake all these words, saying, I am Adonijah thy Elohim, which has brought thee out of the land of Mizraim, out of the house of bondage, or rather the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage or captivity. So we're going to be back again at some point in the future. These are all laid in the law. Will happen. We're going to be colonized and enslaved as a nation. That's going to be at the time of Jacob's trouble. We're going to look at that. So go back to where you were reading. Read that verse again, please, in Deuteronomy 28.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 68.
Go ahead.
And Elohim shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships.
With what?
With ships.
With ships. So this time is going to be by slave ships. The real Jews. But we're going to look at the historical time where they got those slaves. Who are these people that were being brought to America? They're still over there where they were got. How we're going to be scattered worldwide was meticulous. On whose hands? With ships, continue.
By the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again.
We're not gonna see our land again until after Jacob's trouble, after great tribulation, and Christ comes back to restore us back. Why? Because of our disobedience. Because we did not keep the commandment, the tenets of this law. Why? Hence we are coming back to the commandments and to put our faith in Christ. Very significant. Very significant. So we've laid that foundation down. Back to where you were reading, Jeremiah chapter 30, and pick it up again from verse 1.
And the word of Jeremiah from Elohim, saying, Thus speaketh Ahia Elohim. How do you say it?
Elohim.
Ahia Elohim of Israel,
Go ahead.
saying, Write these all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith Ahia, that I will bring again the captivity of my people, Israel, and Judah, says Ahia.
Now you understand why he's going to reverse our slavery and colonization. Not just the Negro tribe, Yehuda, the Igbos, that the people that fled into slave coast of Africa and Eastern Africa as well, but also the Israel, the lost in tribes that became the indigenous of America. A time is going to come when he's going to begin to reverse that. But before that happens, we're going to go through Jacob's trouble. And that's what we're going through, and that's what we're looking at that time period that will lead to the Great Tribulation. The Great Tribulation is also what? The height of Jacob's trouble, or rather, the ending of Jacob's trouble. We're going to look at that. Continue. Time, we will do what? Return to the land, you're not going to be raptured off. Why are they not teaching this? You will get caught up. But we come back to land of Jerusalem, holy Jerusalem. So you see how Roman Catholic Church taught the whole world rapture, so you forget who you are. Amazing. Continue to read.
That I gave to their fathers.
So now when you read this thing now, you're going to ask your question, who are these people today in Jerusalem claiming to be the Jews? That's the question that the world pundits are not asking. The global leaders, the Israelite people, our leaders, not asking these questions. The church leaders are not asking these questions. Because if you do, that's when the conflict begins. And guess what? We will ask that question when Christ returns, because we're going to take our land in power. He shows you there in the book of Isaiah chapter 11. And Christ will be leading and pointing the finger in Isaiah chapter 11. He shows you there. Go ahead.
And they shall possess it. And these are the words that Elohim spake concerning Israel.
Go ahead.
Concerning Judah. For thus says Elohim, we have heard a voice of trembling.
We have heard a voice of trembling. Come on.
And fear.
And fear.
And not of peace.
And not of peace. And not of peace. Come on.
Ask ye now and see whether a man travail with child.
Have you seen when a man is crying like he's pregnant? That's the question. Come on.
Wherefore I see every man with his hands on his loins.
Every man with his hand on his loins. That's what pregnant women, when you're going through labor pain. You're going through labor pain. Travailing like you want to deliver. Come on.
With his hands on his loins, as a woman in travail.